When Fort Harrison Army Base received notification that a biomedical systems consultant would be conducting equipment inspections, nobody expected her to know the exact location of every medical supply cache, the specific radio frequencies used during emergency evacuations, or why the base hospital's trauma bay had been reconfigured 3 years ago. They certainly didn't expect her to be the same combat medic Alada Rodriguez whose name was engraved on the memorial wall, scheduled to receive the Medal of Honor posthumously in just 2 days. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The morning sun cast long shadows across the parade grounds of Fort Harrison Army Base as Staff Sergeant Mike Thompson unlocked the doors to Hangar 12. The massive structure housed the 3rd Combat Engineering Battalion's fleet of M2 Bradley fighting vehicles, their olive drab hulls gleaming under the fluorescent lights that flickered to life automatically. Thompson had been running maintenance operations here for 8 years, and he prided himself on keeping the most efficient motor pool in the Rocky Mountain Military District. His team was already filtering in for the day shift when he noticed the email notification on his secure tablet. A civilian contractor would be arriving at 0900 hours to conduct biomedical systems analysis on their field medical equipment. Thompson rolled his eyes and called out to his crew. Private Jake Wilson looked up from the Bradley he was servicing, grease already staining his uniform despite the early hour. At 19, Wilson had been at Fort Harrison for only 6 months, but he'd quickly earned a reputation for asking too many questions and having opinions about everything. He wiped his hands on a rag and approached Thompson's desk. The contractor arrival meant their routine would be disrupted by some pencil pusher from MedTech Solutions who probably couldn't tell a stretcher from a storage box. Thompson had dealt with enough civilian consultants to know the type. They showed up with clipboards and fancy degrees, asked obvious questions, took notes on equipment that had been working perfectly for years, then disappeared back to their air-conditioned offices to write reports nobody would read. Corporal Lisa Chun was monitoring communications from her station near the hangar's main entrance when she overheard the conversation about the incoming inspection. As the battalion's senior communications specialist, she'd interfaced with plenty of contractors over the years. Most were competent enough, but few understood the real-world applications of the equipment they were supposedly evaluating. She'd learned to be polite but skeptical when outsiders claimed to understand military medical operations. The hangar buzzed with the familiar sounds of maintenance work. Diesel engines rumbled as mechanics performed diagnostic checks. Air compressors hissed as tires were inflated to specifications, and the steady rhythm of tools against metal created the industrial symphony that Thompson found oddly comforting. This was his domain, where everything had a purpose and every person knew their role. At exactly 0900 hours, a woman appeared in the doorway of Hangar 12. She carried a simple black briefcase and wore a conservative business suit that immediately marked her as civilian personnel. Her dark hair was pulled back in a professional bun, and she moved with the measured pace of someone accustomed to military punctuality. Nothing about her appearance suggested anything unusual, yet something indefinable made Thompson look twice. Dr. Amanda Foster, according to the identification badge clipped to her jacket pocket, approached Thompson's desk with confident steps. Her handshake was firm without being aggressive, and her eye contact was direct but not challenging. She had the demeanor of someone comfortable in institutional settings, though Thompson couldn't quite place what seemed familiar about her presence. She explained that her evaluation would focus on the medical readiness systems integrated into their Bradley vehicles, particularly the trauma response equipment and emergency communication protocols. It sounded routine enough, exactly the kind of bureaucratic requirement that kept desk jockeys employed and real soldiers busy answering pointless questions. Wilson watched the interaction with the casual interest of someone looking for any excuse. to take a break from transmission maintenance. The contractor seemed normal enough, though he noticed she kept glancing toward the base hospital, visible through the hangar's side windows. Probably nervous about being around all the military equipment. He figured. Most civilians were intimidated by the sheer scale of Army operations. Thompson assigned Chun to escort Dr. Foster through the inspection process, partly because communications fell under her expertise, and partly because he trusted her to keep the civilian from wandering into restricted areas or asking questions about classified systems. Chun accepted the assignment with professional courtesy, gathering the necessary documentation and preparing to explain their medical readiness protocols. The first stop was Bradley Vehicle Number 7, which housed the most advanced medical evacuation setup in their fleet. Dr. Foster examined the trauma kit with what seemed like routine thoroughness, making notes on her tablet and asking standard questions about inventory management and equipment certification. Chun answered each inquiry with practiced efficiency, reciting specifications and protocols she could deliver in her sleep. But then something shifted in the dynamic. As Dr. Foster examined the emergency medical radio, she made an offhand comment about signal range limitations in mountainous terrain. It was a specific technical observation that caught Chun's attention because it reflected real operational experience rather than textbook knowledge. Most contractors stuck to basic functionality questions and avoided getting into tactical applications. When Dr. Foster suggested that the morphine storage might be more accessible if relocated to the secondary compartment, Chun paused her standard briefing. That recommendation demonstrated an understanding of trauma response priorities that went beyond routine systems analysis. It suggested someone who had actually worked with wounded soldiers under combat conditions, not just studied equipment specifications in a laboratory. Wilson had drifted closer to eavesdrop on the inspection, curious about what insights the civilian might offer. He'd been working on Bradley Medical Systems for months and considered himself reasonably knowledgeable about their capabilities and limitations. When he heard Dr. Foster mention the morphine storage issue, he found himself nodding in agreement. That modification would indeed improve response time during medical emergencies. Thompson was reviewing maintenance schedules when Chun's voice crackled over the radio, requesting his presence at Vehicle 7. The tone wasn't urgent, but something in her inflection suggested the inspection wasn't proceeding as routinely as expected. He handed his clipboard to Master Sergeant Anderson and walked across the hangar to see what was developing. Dr. Foster was kneeling beside the vehicle's communication console, pointing out what appeared to be a wiring configuration that could be optimized for faster deployment of the emergency medical beacon. Her explanation was detailed and technically sound, but Thompson noticed she was describing the system's operation with a familiarity that seemed inconsistent with her supposed role as an outside evaluator. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Captain David Martinez, the base commander who made it his practice to personally greet visiting contractors and ensure they received appropriate cooperation. Martinez was a career officer who had served multiple combat deployments and prided himself on maintaining positive relationships with the civilian personnel who supported military operations. Dr. Foster stood and shook hands with Captain Martinez, introducing herself with the same professional demeanor she displayed throughout the morning. Martinez explained that Fort Harrison took great pride in its medical readiness capabilities and encouraged her to conduct a thorough evaluation of their systems. He mentioned that the base would be hosting a Medal of Honor ceremony in 2 days, honoring fallen soldiers, including members of their own battalion. At the mention of the ceremony, Thompson noticed a brief change in Dr. Foster's expression. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. It was subtle, just a momentary tightening around her eyes, but it suggested the topic held more significance for her than would be expected from a routine contractor. Chun caught the same reaction and filed it away as another small inconsistency. In what was supposed to be a standard inspection, the group moved to examine the base hospital's mobile medical unit, a specialized vehicle designed to extend emergency care capabilities into field conditions. Dr. Foster's questions became increasingly sophisticated as she examined the surgical equipment and pharmaceutical storage systems. She asked about specific medications, inquiry about inventory rotation schedules, and demonstrated knowledge of drug interaction protocols that impressed even the experienced medics on Thompson's team. Wilson found himself actively listening to Dr. Foster's observations rather than simply waiting for the inspection to end. Her suggestions for equipment placement and workflow optimization reflected genuine understanding of combat medical operations. She spoke about trauma response with the kind of insight that came from experience, not academic study. When the group reached the communications center, Dr. Foster examined the radio equipment with particular attention to the emergency medical frequencies. She asked Chun about backup communication protocols and redundancy systems, questions that revealed familiarity with the challenges of maintaining contact during combat medical evacuations. Her knowledge extended beyond basic specifications to include tactical considerations that few civilian contractors would understand. Thompson was beginning to realize that Dr. Foster's expertise went significantly deeper than her credentials suggested. She moved through the inspection with the confidence of someone who had used similar equipment under operational conditions. Her questions weren't the broad inquiries of an outside evaluator, but the specific concerns of someone who understood how medical systems performed when lives depended on their reliability. The lunch break provided an opportunity for Thompson's team to discuss their observations. Wilson expressed surprise at the contractor's level of knowledge, noting that her recommendations would actually improve their operational efficiency. Chun agreed, mentioning that Dr. Foster's understanding of communication protocols seemed to reflect practical experience rather than theoretical training. Anderson, who had been quietly observing the inspection, offered his own perspective. With 26 years of service, he'd worked with countless contractors and could usually distinguish between those who genuinely understood military operations and those who were simply going through the motions. Dr. Foster fell into the former category, but her knowledge seemed more comprehensive than would be expected from typical consulting work. The afternoon session focused on the base hospital's trauma bay, where Dr. Foster's expertise became even more apparent. She examined the surgical equipment with practiced efficiency, asking detailed questions about sterilization protocols and equipment maintenance schedules. Her familiarity with trauma response procedures was evident in every observation and recommendation she made. Thompson found himself taking notes on Dr. Foster's suggestions rather than simply monitoring her activities. Her insights into medical equipment optimization were valuable enough to warrant serious consideration for implementation. She understood not just how the equipment functioned, but how it performed under the stress of emergency conditions. As the day progressed, more personnel became aware of the ongoing inspection and the unusual depth of the contractor's knowledge. Word spread through the base that the civilian evaluator was providing genuinely useful recommendations rather than the routine observations typically generated by such visits. The inspection was attracting attention from staff who normally ignored contractor activities. Chun had been documenting the inspection process and found herself recording substantive technical insights rather than routine compliance observations. Dr. Foster's evaluation was generating actionable recommendations that could enhance their medical readiness capabilities. The quality of her analysis was impressive enough to warrant discussion with senior medical personnel. Thompson's radio crackled with a request from the base medical officer, who had heard about the inspection and wanted to meet with Dr. Foster personally. Major Patricia Williams had served as a combat medic before transitioning to administrative duties, and was curious about the civilian contractor whose evaluation was generating positive reviews from experienced military personnel. The meeting was arranged for late afternoon in the base hospital's administrative office. Dr. Foster accepted the invitation with the same professional courtesy she displayed throughout the day, though Thompson noticed she seemed more reserved when discussing her background and qualifications. Her responses to questions about her experience were technically accurate, but somehow vague about specific details. Major Williams reviewed Dr. Foster's preliminary recommendations and expressed genuine appreciation for the quality of her analysis. The suggestions reflected understanding of combat medical operations that exceeded expectations for civilian consulting work. Williams mentioned that the base was always seeking ways to improve medical readiness and would seriously consider implementing the proposed modifications. During their conversation, Major Williams mentioned the upcoming Medal of Honor ceremony and the significance it held for the base community. 3 soldiers from Fort Harrison would be honored posthumously, including combat medic Elena Rodriguez, who had died saving lives during Operation Desert Shield 3 years earlier. Dr. Foster listened with apparent interest but offered no comment, beyond expressing appropriate respect for the honored dead. As the inspection concluded, Thompson found himself genuinely impressed by Dr. Foster's work. Her evaluation had provided valuable insights that would enhance their medical capabilities, and her professional demeanor had made the process more educational than burdensome. She packed her equipment with the same methodical efficiency she'd displayed throughout the day. Chun walked Dr. Foster to the base entrance, continuing their discussion of communication protocols and equipment optimization. The contractor's knowledge continued to impress her, particularly the depth of understanding about tactical medical operations. As they reached the gate, Chun mentioned that Dr. Foster would be welcome to return if her company required follow-up evaluations. Wilson watched Dr. Foster's departure from the hangar doorway, still puzzled by her exceptional knowledge of military medical systems. She had exceeded every expectation for civilian contractor competence, providing insights that would benefit their operations for years to come. Her visit had been the most productive inspection he'd experienced since arriving at Fort Harrison. Thompson completed his daily reports with unusual satisfaction, documenting inspection that had actually improved their capabilities rather than simply fulfilling bureaucratic requirements. Dr. Foster's evaluation would generate genuine improvements to their medical readiness systems, a rare outcome from civilian contractor activities. Anderson secured the hangar for the evening, reflecting on a day that had challenged his assumptions about civilian consultants. Dr. Foster's expertise had impressed the entire team, demonstrating knowledge that rivaled experienced military medical personnel. Her insights would enhance their operational effectiveness in ways that few outsiders could achieve. As darkness fell over Fort Harrison, the base settled into its evening routine. The day's inspection had generated positive reviews throughout the battalion, with personnel expressing genuine appreciation for Dr. Foster's contributions. Her evaluation had provided value that extended beyond routine compliance requirements. But questions lingered about the contractor's exceptional expertise and her apparent familiarity with military medical operations. Her knowledge seemed too comprehensive for typical consulting work, suggesting experience that her credentials didn't fully explain. The mystery of Dr. Amanda Foster would continue to intrigue the personnel who had worked with her. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and responsibilities, but the impact of her visit would influence Fort Harrison's medical capabilities for years to come. Her recommendations represented genuine improvements that could save lives during future operations, the ultimate measure of success for any military medical system. The base hospital's memorial wall stood quietly in the corridor, displaying photographs and citations of soldiers who had made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country. Among them was combat medic Elena Rodriguez, whose heroism during Operation Desert Shield had earned her the Medal of Honor, that would be presented posthumously in just 2 days. None of the personnel who had worked with Dr. Foster that day could have imagined the connection between the accomplished contractor and the fallen hero whose memory they would soon honor. The second day of Dr. Amanda Foster's evaluation began with an unusual development that immediately caught Staff Sergeant Thompson's attention. When he arrived at Hangar 12 at 0630 hours, 30 minutes before his normal schedule, he found Dr. Foster already present, examining the Bradley vehicles. With a level of familiarity that seemed inconsistent with her supposed first-time visit to the base. She was crouched beside vehicle number 3, her business suit replaced by practical field clothing that looked suspiciously like modified military fatigues. The transformation was subtle but significant, suggesting someone comfortable adapting to operational environments rather than maintaining the sterile professionalism typical of civilian contractors. Thompson observed her from across the hangar, noting how she moved around the vehicles with the unconscious efficiency of someone who had spent considerable time in similar settings. Private Wilson arrived shortly after Thompson, immediately noticing Dr. Foster's early presence and changed appearance. Her examination of the medical equipment was more hands-on than the previous day, suggesting a shift from routine evaluation to detailed analysis. Wilson had been thinking about her recommendations from the previous afternoon and found himself curious about what additional insights she might offer. Dr. Foster's focus had shifted to the emergency medical protocols embedded in the vehicle. Communication systems. She was examining radio configurations with the kind of attention that suggested personal investment rather than professional obligation. Her questions about frequency assignments and backup communication procedures reflected understanding of operational realities that few civilian consultants would possess. Corporal Chun arrived to find Dr. Foster already deep in conversation with Master Sergeant Anderson about medical evacuation procedures. Anderson was describing the challenges of maintaining communication during emergency extractions, and Dr. Foster was responding with observations that demonstrated intimate knowledge of combat medical operations. Chun listened to the exchange with growing curiosity about the contractor's background. The conversation revealed that Dr. Foster understood not just the technical specifications of medical equipment, but the tactical considerations that influenced their deployment. She spoke about trauma response with the specificity of someone who had experienced the life and death decisions that defined combat medical work. Her insights reflected practical knowledge that went far beyond theoretical training. Anderson found himself engaging in the kind of detailed professional discussion he typically reserved for experienced military medical personnel. Dr. Foster's understanding of evacuation procedures, trauma treatment protocols, and equipment limitations was comprehensive enough to warrant serious consideration. Her recommendations weren't the broad suggestions of an outside observer, but the specific insights of someone who understood operational realities. Thompson's attention was drawn to the conversation when Dr. Foster mentioned a modification to the medical radio configuration that would improve response time during multi-casualty incidents. The suggestion was technically sound and operationally valuable, but it reflected understanding of combat scenarios that seemed inconsistent with civilian consulting work. Thompson made a mental note to investigate Dr. Foster's background more thoroughly. The morning evaluation session expanded to include additional personnel as word spread about the contractor's exceptional knowledge. Lieutenant Colonel James Peterson, the battalion executive officer, arrived to observe the inspection. Personally, Peterson had commanded medical units during multiple combat deployments and was qualified to assess the technical merit of Dr. Foster's recommendations. Dr. Foster's presentation to Peterson was comprehensive and professionally delivered, covering medical readiness capabilities, equipment optimization opportunities, and procedural improvements that could enhance operational effectiveness. Peterson was impressed by the depth of her analysis and the practical value of her suggestions, though he noticed her responses to questions about her experience were carefully worded and somewhat evasive. Peterson's questions about Dr. Foster's previous work with military medical systems elicited responses that were technically accurate but deliberately vague about specific details. She mentioned experience with combat medical equipment without identifying particular units or deployments. Her answers satisfied immediate curiosity without providing substantive information about her background. Wilson had been assigned to assist with the inspection and found himself learning from Dr. Foster's observations rather than simply providing support. Her knowledge of medical equipment operation under field conditions was comprehensive enough to serve as informal training for less experienced personnel. She demonstrated familiarity with procedures that typically required months of specialized instruction. The inspection moved to the base hospital's emergency department, where Dr. Foster's expertise became even more apparent. She examined trauma response equipment with the practiced efficiency of someone who had used similar systems under operational conditions. Her questions about patient flow procedures and resource allocation reflected understanding of emergency medical operations that impressed the hospital staff. Major Williams joined the hospital inspection, curious to observe Dr. Foster's evaluation of clinical medical systems. Williams had extensive experience with combat medical operations and was qualified to assess the merit of civilian recommendations for military medical capabilities. The conversation between Williams and Dr. Foster quickly evolved into a detailed professional discussion about trauma treatment protocols. Dr. Foster's knowledge of combat medical procedures was evident in every aspect of her evaluation. She understood the challenges of treating multiple casualties with limited resources, the importance of rapid triage decisions, and the critical role of communication during medical emergencies. Her insights reflected experience that went beyond academic study or routine consulting work. The hospital staff found themselves actively engaging with Dr. Foster's recommendations, rather than simply tolerating another routine inspection. Her suggestions for workflow optimization and equipment placement would improve their operational efficiency in measurable ways. The quality of her analysis exceeded expectations for civilian contractor evaluations. Chun was documenting the inspection process and noticed that Dr. Foster's recommendations consistently focused on life-saving capabilities rather than administrative compliance. Her priorities reflected understanding of combat medical realities where equipment failures or procedural delays could result in preventable deaths. The focus suggested personal investment in medical effectiveness rather than bureaucratic satisfaction. Thompson received a call from base security requesting information about Dr. Foster's credentials and background. The inquiry was routine for contractor visits, but something in the security officer's tone suggested unusual interest in the civilian evaluator. Thompson provided the standard information while noting the security concern for future reference. Anderson was impressed by Dr. Foster's understanding of medical equipment maintenance requirements under field conditions. She understood the challenges of keeping sophisticated medical systems operational in austere environments, the importance of redundant capabilities, and the need for equipment that could function reliably under stress. Her insights would enhance their maintenance protocols. Significantly, the afternoon brought an unexpected development when Dr. Foster requested access to historical medical records for comparative analysis. The request was unusual for routine equipment evaluations, but seemed reasonable given the comprehensive nature of her assessment. Major Williams approved limited access to non-classified medical statistics for analytical purposes. Dr. Foster's analysis of historical medical data revealed patterns that had escaped previous reviews. She identified trends in casualty treatment, equipment utilization, and procedural effectiveness that provided valuable insights for future planning. Her analytical approach reflected sophisticated understanding of military medical operations and their strategic implications. Wilson observed Dr. Foster's data analysis and was struck by her ability to identify meaningful patterns in complex medical statistics. Her conclusions about equipment effectiveness and procedural optimization were supported by evidence that demonstrated genuine analytical expertise. The quality of her work exceeded anything he had seen from previous contractor evaluations. Peterson was sufficiently impressed by Dr. Foster's analysis to request a formal briefing for senior staff. The presentation would provide an opportunity for base leadership to review her recommendations and consider implementation of proposed improvements. Peterson's endorsement reflected genuine appreciation for the value of her evaluation rather than routine courtesy. Chun noticed that Dr. Foster seemed increasingly comfortable as the evaluation progressed, displaying confidence that suggested familiarity with military environments and procedures. Her interactions with personnel reflected understanding of military culture and protocol that went beyond basic civilian contractor training. The comfort level seemed inconsistent with her supposed limited exposure to military operations. Thompson's curiosity about Dr. Foster's background intensified as he observed her exceptional knowledge and professional competence. Her expertise was comprehensive enough to qualify her for senior positions in military medical organizations, yet her credentials suggested relatively limited experience with defense contracting. The discrepancy raised questions about her actual background and qualifications. The day concluded with Dr. Foster preparing materials for the senior staff briefing scheduled for the following morning. Her professional preparation and comprehensive analysis reflected commitment to excellence that impressed even the most experienced military personnel. The quality of her work warranted serious consideration by base leadership. Anderson secured the medical equipment after Dr. Foster's departure, reflecting on an evaluation that had exceeded every expectation for civilian contractor performance. Her recommendations would enhance their medical capabilities in ways that could save lives. During future operations, the impact of her work would influence their effectiveness for years to come. As evening approached, Fort Harrison's personnel discussed the day's evaluation with genuine enthusiasm. Dr. Foster's expertise had impressed everyone who worked with her, generating respect that few civilian contractors earned from experienced military personnel. Her contributions would enhance their medical readiness in measurable and meaningful ways. But questions about Dr. Foster's background persisted among the staff who had observed her exceptional performance. Her knowledge was too comprehensive for typical consulting work, suggesting experience that her credentials didn't fully explain. The mystery of her background would continue to intrigue personnel throughout the base. Captain Martinez arrived at his office before dawn, troubled by reports from base security that had arrived overnight. A routine background verification on Dr. Amanda Foster had yielded results that raised more questions than answers. Her credentials checked out through official channels, but deeper investigation revealed gaps and inconsistencies that warranted closer examination. The security report indicated that MedTech Solutions Inc., Dr. Foster's supposed employer, existed as a legitimate consulting firm with appropriate government contracts and security clearances. However, personnel records for Dr. Foster within the company were minimal, containing basic information without the detailed employment history typical of experienced consultants working on military contracts. Martinez reviewed Dr. Foster's visitor access logs and noticed unusual patterns in her movement around the base. Security cameras showed her navigating the facility with familiarity that suggested previous exposure to military installations. She moved through corridors and accessed areas with confidence that seemed inconsistent with first-time visitor status. Thompson received an early morning call from Martinez requesting a detailed briefing on Dr. Foster's evaluation activities. The conversation revealed Martinez's growing concerns about the contractor's exceptional knowledge and apparent familiarity with base operations. Thompson agreed to monitor Dr. Foster's activities more closely and report any additional unusual observations. Dr. Foster arrived for her third day of evaluation, wearing the same practical field clothing that had replaced her initial business attire. Her transformation from corporate consultant to field evaluator seemed natural and professional, but it reflected adaptability that suggested experience with diverse operational environments. The change reinforced questions about her actual background and qualifications. Wilson was assigned to escort Dr. Foster during the morning session, providing an opportunity to observe her activities more closely. Wilson had been instructed to ask casual questions about her experience and background while maintaining normal professional interaction. The assignment required subtlety that challenged his limited experience with intelligence gathering. Dr. Foster's evaluation focus shifted to the bases: emergency medical response procedures, examining protocols for mass casualty incidents, and medical evacuation operations. Her questions revealed understanding of tactical medical operations that went beyond routine equipment evaluation. She inquired about response times, resource allocation, and coordination procedures with detailed knowledge of operational requirements. The inspection included examination of historical incident reports and medical response statistics that provided insights into base medical capabilities under emergency conditions. Dr. Foster's analysis identified patterns and trends that had escaped previous reviews, demonstrating analytical skills that impressed experienced medical personnel, while raising additional questions about her background. Chun was monitoring communications during Dr. Foster's evaluation when she noticed the contractor's familiarity with military radio procedures and emergency communication protocols. Dr. Foster handled radio equipment with practiced efficiency and demonstrated knowledge of frequency assignments and communication security measures that suggested operational experience rather than academic training. Anderson found himself discussing operational challenges with Dr. Foster in detail that would typically be reserved for experienced military personnel. Her understanding of logistical constraints, equipment limitations, and tactical considerations was comprehensive enough to warrant serious professional respect. The conversation revealed knowledge that seemed inconsistent with civilian consulting background. Major Williams joined the evaluation session and engaged Dr. Foster in detailed discussion about combat medical procedures and trauma treatment protocols. Williams had commanded medical units during multiple combat deployments and was qualified to assess the authenticity of Dr. Foster's claimed expertise. The conversation confirmed exceptional knowledge while raising questions about its source. Thompson observed Dr. Foster's interaction with medical equipment and noticed subtle behaviors that suggested hands-on operational experience. She handled trauma response gear with familiarity that reflected practical training rather than theoretical knowledge. Her comfort with medical equipment under simulated emergency conditions was evident in every aspect of her performance. Peterson requested a private meeting with Dr. Foster to discuss her recommendations in greater detail. The conversation provided an opportunity to probe her background more thoroughly while maintaining professional courtesy. Peterson's questions about her experience with military medical operations elicited careful responses that satisfied immediate curiosity without providing substantive biographical information. Dr. Foster's responses to Peterson's inquiries were professionally appropriate, but deliberately vague about specific details of her experience. She acknowledged familiarity with military medical systems without identifying particular units, deployments, or operational contexts. Her answers suggested extensive experience while avoiding verification opportunities. Wilson's attempts to gather background information through casual conversation were skillfully deflected by Dr. Foster without obvious evasion. She maintained friendly professional interaction while providing minimal personal information. Her conversational skills reflected training in maintaining operational security that seemed inconsistent with civilian contractor status. The evaluation session included examination of the base memorial wall, where Dr. Foster paused to read citations and photographs of fallen soldiers. Her attention focused particularly on the section honoring personnel killed during Operation Desert Shield, including combat medic Elena Rodriguez, whose Medal of Honor citation described heroic actions during medical evacuation operations. Chun observed Dr. Foster's reaction to the memorial wall and noticed emotional responses that seemed more personal than would be expected from a civilian contractor. Dr. Foster spent considerable time reading Elena Rodriguez's citation, displaying interest that suggested personal connection rather than routine professional courtesy. The reaction warranted additional observation and documentation. Thompson's radio crackled with a priority message from base security requesting immediate consultation about Dr. Foster's background verification. The urgency of the request suggested significant developments in the investigation that warranted command attention. Thompson arranged to meet with security personnel during the Pazino lunch break to discuss their findings. Anderson was impressed by Dr. Foster's comprehensive understanding of medical equipment maintenance requirements under operational conditions. Her knowledge extended beyond basic functionality to include tactical deployment considerations, environmental challenges, and logistical constraints that influenced equipment effectiveness. The expertise reflected experience that was difficult to acquire through academic study alone. The security briefing revealed that further investigation of Dr. Foster's background had identified additional inconsistencies that raised serious questions about her identity and credentials. Personnel records for Dr. Amanda Foster existed, but contained gaps and anomalies that suggested constructed rather than authentic biographical information. The findings warranted immediate command attention and potential security measures. Martinez reviewed the security findings and made the decision to continue Dr. Foster's evaluation under increased surveillance while investigating her background more thoroughly. The approach would allow completion of her assessment while gathering additional information about her identity and potential security implications. Discretion was essential to avoid compromising ongoing investigation. Wilson continued his escort duties with heightened awareness of Dr. Foster's activities and statements. Her knowledge of base operations, medical procedures, and military culture continued to impress while reinforcing questions about her authentic background. The assignment required careful balance between professional courtesy and investigative responsibility. Dr. Foster's afternoon evaluation focused on advanced medical equipment and specialized trauma response systems that required high-level security clearances for civilian access. Her familiarity with classified medical technologies raised additional security concerns that warranted immediate investigation by appropriate authorities. The access level suggested government connections that weren't reflected in her official credentials. Chun documented Dr. Foster's activities throughout the afternoon, noting technical knowledge, procedural familiarity, and behavioral patterns that suggested military background despite civilian contractor status. The documentation would provide evidence for ongoing security investigation while maintaining operational requirements for the evaluation process. Peterson met with Martinez to discuss growing concerns about Dr. Foster's identity and background. The security investigation had revealed enough inconsistencies to warrant treating her as potential security risk while continuing evaluation under controlled conditions. The situation required careful management to protect base security while avoiding premature action based on incomplete information. Thompson's team was briefed on security concerns and instructed to maintain normal professional interaction with Dr. Foster while remaining alert for additional unusual behavior or knowledge. The guidance required subtle implementation to avoid compromising ongoing investigation or alerting Dr. Foster to suspicions about her identity. Anderson found himself carefully observing Dr. Foster's technical knowledge and operational familiarity for potential military background indicators. Her expertise consistently exceeded expectations for civilian contractor capabilities, while suggesting experience that would be difficult to acquire outside military service. The observations supported growing suspicions about her authentic identity. Major Williams was consulted about Dr. Foster's claimed medical expertise and asked to assess whether her knowledge was consistent with civilian contractor background or suggested military medical training. Williams' evaluation confirmed exceptional competence that seemed more consistent with military experience than typical consulting work. As the day concluded, Dr. Foster prepared materials for the senior staff briefing scheduled for the following morning, unaware of the security investigation developing around her identity. Her professional preparation and comprehensive analysis continued to impress while reinforcing questions about her background and potential security implications. The evening brought additional security findings that deepened the mystery surrounding Dr. Foster's identity. Investigation had revealed that her credentials, while technically authentic, appeared to have been constructed to support a false identity. The findings warranted immediate consultation with higher authorities about appropriate response measures. Base personnel discussed the day's evaluation with continued appreciation for Dr. Foster's expertise, while growing awareness of security concerns surrounding her background. The quality of her work warranted serious consideration, while the mystery of her identity demanded investigation. The situation required careful balance between operational and security requirements. The morning of the fourth day brought a development that would transform speculation into direct confrontation. Colonel Sarah Bennett arrived at Fort Harrison unannounced, carrying classified files and urgent instructions from Pentagon intelligence. Her presence indicated that Dr. Amanda Foster's background investigation had escalated beyond routine security verification into a matter of national security concern. Bennett's credentials identified her as a senior intelligence officer with extensive experience in counterintelligence operations and personnel security investigations. Her arrival at Fort Harrison suggested that Dr. Foster's identity issues had attracted attention from the highest levels of military intelligence. The implications were serious enough to warrant immediate and decisive action. Martinez received Bennett's briefing in the secure conference room, learning that the investigation into Dr. Foster's background had revealed evidence of sophisticated identity construction that raised questions about espionage, unauthorized access, and potential threats to national security. The findings demanded immediate confrontation while maintaining operational security for the ongoing evaluation. Bennett's files contained evidence that Dr. Amanda Foster's identity appeared to be professionally constructed using techniques typically associated with intelligence operations. Personnel records, employment history, and educational credentials existed but showed patterns consistent with cover identity creation rather than authentic biographical development. The sophistication suggested government-level resources and expertise. Thompson was summoned to the command briefing and informed about the security concerns surrounding Dr. Foster. His observations about her exceptional knowledge and operational familiarity were consistent with intelligence findings about potential false identity. The situation required immediate action to protect base security while gathering additional intelligence about her authentic identity and objectives. Dr. Foster arrived for her scheduled senior staff briefing unaware of the overnight developments that had transformed her status from respected contractor to potential security threat. Her professional preparation and confident demeanor reflected continued commitment to her evaluation mission, despite growing surveillance and investigation surrounding her identity. The briefing room was arranged to facilitate observation and potential confrontation while maintaining appearance of routine presentation. Bennett positioned herself to observe Dr. Foster's reactions during questioning while security personnel prepared for potential emergency response. The setup reflected serious concern about Dr. Foster's identity and potential threat level. Wilson was assigned to monitor Dr. Foster's activities before the briefing, observing for any unusual behavior or awareness of increased security attention. His observations would provide intelligence about whether Dr. Foster suspected the investigation or remained confident in her cover. Identity. The assignment required careful balance between surveillance and normal interaction. Dr. Foster's presentation began with comprehensive analysis of Fort Harrison's medical readiness capabilities, covering equipment effectiveness, procedural optimization, and recommended improvements that demonstrated exceptional knowledge and professional competence. The quality of her work continued to impress while reinforcing questions about her authentic background and expertise source. Bennett observed Dr. Foster's presentation style, technical knowledge, and interaction patterns for indicators of military training or intelligence background. Her professional demeanor and comprehensive expertise were consistent with advanced training that would be difficult to acquire through civilian channels. The observations supported suspicions about constructed identity and hidden background. Peterson's questions about Dr. Foster's recommendations were designed to probe her technical knowledge while providing opportunities for Bennett to assess her responses for deception indicators. Dr. Foster's answers demonstrated continued expertise while maintaining careful boundaries around personal information and background details. Shun was monitoring communications during the briefing when she received priority instructions to examine Dr. Foster's radio usage patterns and technical familiarity for military training indicators. The analysis would provide additional evidence about her authentic background while supporting ongoing security investigation. Anderson participated in the briefing discussion while observing Dr. Foster for behavioral indicators that might reveal awareness of security concerns. Her professional confidence and technical competence remained consistent, suggesting either genuine innocence or sophisticated training in maintaining cover identity under pressure. Major Williams asked detailed questions about Dr. Foster's experience with combat medical procedures, probing for specific knowledge that would indicate military service rather than civilian consulting experience. Dr. Foster's responses continued to demonstrate exceptional expertise while avoiding verification opportunities that could compromise her cover identity. Thompson noticed subtle changes in Dr. Foster's demeanor as the questioning became more specific and personally focused. Her responses remained professional, but showed increased caution that suggested awareness of the investigative nature of the inquiries. The behavioral shift warranted immediate reporting to security personnel. Bennett decided to escalate the confrontation by asking direct questions about Dr. Foster's background and credentials that would force more specific responses. The approach risked alerting Dr. Foster to the investigation, but was necessary to gather definitive intelligence about her identity and potential threat level. Dr. Foster's response to direct questioning about her background became noticeably more guarded, providing minimal information while maintaining professional courtesy. Her evasiveness was skillful but evident to trained observers, confirming suspicions about hidden identity and constructed credentials. Peterson supported Bennett's questioning by requesting specific details about Dr. Foster's previous military consulting experience, including client references and project documentation. The requests were reasonable for contractor verification, but designed to expose inconsistencies in her claimed background. Wilson observed Dr. Foster's reactions to increased questioning pressure and noticed behavioral changes consistent with someone maintaining cover identity under scrutiny. Her responses became more carefully constructed while maintaining surface professionalism, suggesting training in deception and identity protection. Shun received instructions to activate emergency communication protocols that would prevent Dr. Foster from contacting outside support or alerting potential Confederates about the investigation. The measures reflected serious concern about her identity and potential security implications for the base. Anderson was positioned to observe potential escape routes and prevent Dr. Foster from leaving the briefing area if confrontation escalated to detention level. His instructions reflected preparation for various scenarios, depending on her responses to direct questioning about identity and background. Bennett made the decision to confront Dr. Foster directly about the inconsistencies in her background and credentials, demanding explanations for the gaps and anomalies that had been discovered during security investigation. The confrontation would force resolution of the identity question, while maintaining control of the situation. Dr. Foster's response to direct confrontation was calm but revealing, acknowledging awareness of the investigation while maintaining her cover identity. Her professional demeanor remained intact, but her careful word choice suggested preparation for this possibility and training in handling security confrontations. Martinez joined the confrontation by presenting evidence of the background inconsistencies and demanding authentic identification and explanation of her presence at Fort Harrison. The approach escalated pressure while providing opportunities for Dr. Foster to explain her situation voluntarily. Thompson observed Dr. Foster's reactions to escalating confrontation and noticed signs of internal conflict between maintaining cover identity and responding to legitimate security concerns. Her behavioral pattern suggested someone trained in intelligence operations, but facing unexpected pressure to reveal authentic identity. The confrontation reached a critical point when Bennett presented classified evidence about Dr. Foster's identity construction and demanded immediate explanation of her authentic background and objectives. The pressure forced a decision between continued deception and potential revelation of her true identity. Dr. Foster's careful composure finally showed signs of strain as the confrontation escalated beyond her ability to maintain cover through professional responses. Her situation had become untenable, requiring decision about revelation or continued deception, despite overwhelming evidence of identity construction. Wilson positioned himself to support security measures while observing Dr. Foster for signs of potential flight or resistance. Her professional demeanor remained intact, but increased tension was evident in her posture and careful word selection during responses to direct questioning. Chun activated communication security protocols to prevent unauthorized contact while monitoring for any attempts by Dr. Foster to signal outside support or alert potential Confederates about the investigation. The measures reflected serious concern about her identity and potential security network. Anderson prepared for potential detention procedures while maintaining readiness for various scenarios depending on Dr. Foster's responses to continued pressure. His positioning reflected preparation for escalation, while hoping for voluntary cooperation in resolving the identity question. The briefing room tension reached maximum levels as all participants recognized that the situation had evolved beyond routine contractor evaluation into a serious security confrontation. Dr. Foster faced immediate decision about revealing her authentic identity or facing detention and formal investigation as a potential security threat. The tension in the briefing room was shattered by the piercing wail of Fort Harrison's emergency alert system. Red lights flashed throughout the building as the base-wide announcement crackled over the intercom system with urgent authority that made every person present immediately shift from internal confrontation to external crisis response. Attention! All personnel. Code Red Emergency. Multiple casualties inbound from training exercise. Mass casualty incident at Pine Ridge Training Facility. All medical personnel report to emergency stations immediately. Estimated casualties, 23 wounded, condition unknown. Medical evacuation helicopters inbound. Estimated arrival 15 minutes. Bennett's interrogation of Dr. Foster was instantly suspended as the reality of genuine emergencies superseded security concerns. 23 casualties represented the largest medical emergency Fort Harrison had faced in over 2 years, requiring every available medical resource and personnel to prevent preventable deaths. The timing was coincidental but critically demanding. Martinez immediately activated emergency command protocols, transforming from security investigation to crisis management in seconds. His combat experience recognized that successful mass casualty response required absolute coordination and maximum utilization of all available medical resources. Personal conflicts and security concerns became secondary to life-saving requirements. Thompson's radio exploded with urgent communications from the hangar as his maintenance team received orders to prepare all medical evacuation vehicles for immediate deployment. The Bradley medical units that Dr. Foster had been evaluating would now be tested under genuine emergency conditions where equipment failures or procedural delays could result in preventable casualties. Dr. Foster's demeanor transformed instantly. From defensive contractor to focused medical professional as the emergency announcement penetrated her conscious awareness. Her careful composure was replaced by immediate assessment of medical requirements and resource allocation needs that reflected instinctive response to mass casualty situations rather than academic knowledge. Wilson received emergency assignment to support medical vehicle deployment, abandoning his surveillance role to focus on life-saving equipment preparation. The crisis demanded every available person, regardless of their normal duties or current assignments. Personal curiosities and security concerns became irrelevant when measured against immediate medical requirements. Sun activated emergency communication protocols to coordinate medical evacuation operations while maintaining contact with incoming helicopter medical teams. Her systems knowledge became critical for ensuring effective coordination between ground medical units and aerial evacuation assets during the most demanding operational scenario. Anderson mobilized the vehicle maintenance team to deploy all available medical transport capabilities, converting routine equipment preparation into emergency response operations. His experience with medical equipment under operational conditions became essential for ensuring reliable performance when lives depended on mechanical reliability and operational effectiveness. Major Williams rushed to the base hospital emergency department to coordinate incoming casualty reception and treatment procedures. Her combat medical experience was essential for organizing resources and personnel to handle the largest casualty influx the facility had ever received. The emergency would test every aspect of their medical readiness. Peterson assumed overall coordination responsibility for the emergency response, managing resource allocation and personnel deployment across multiple operational requirements. His command experience was crucial for ensuring effective coordination between medical treatment, transportation, and communication elements during maximum stress operations. Bennett faced an immediate decision about Dr. Foster's status during the emergency. Security concerns about her identity remained valid, but her demonstrated medical expertise could be essential for successful casualty response. The choice between detention and utilization required instant evaluation of priorities and risks. Dr. Foster stepped forward without hesitation, addressing Martinez directly with professional authority that cut through previous deception concerns. "Sir, if you need medical expertise for this emergency, my background is irrelevant compared to saving lives. I can help coordinate medical response if you'll allow me to work." Her offer reflected immediate prioritization of medical requirements over personal security, demonstrating commitment to life-saving that superseded concerns about identity revelation or potential consequences. The gesture provided insight into her authentic priorities and professional dedication despite ongoing security investigation. Thompson made an instant command decision based on operational requirements rather than security concerns. "Dr. Foster, we need your medical knowledge for equipment coordination. Can you assist with vehicle deployment and medical equipment preparation?" His request acknowledged her expertise while addressing immediate operational needs. Dr. Foster's response was immediate and professionally decisive. Absolutely. Based on my evaluation, Vehicles 3 and 7 have the best medical configurations. For mass casualty response, Vehicle 3 should handle the most critical cases due to its advanced trauma equipment. Vehicle 7 can manage multiple stable casualties with its expanded capacity. Her recommendations demonstrated immediate application of evaluation knowledge to genuine emergency requirements, providing valuable insights for medical resource deployment. The advice reflected understanding of equipment capabilities and tactical medical considerations that could influence casualty survival rates. Bennett made the strategic decision to suspend security investigation temporarily while utilizing Dr. Foster's expertise for emergency response. Dr. Foster, you'll work under direct supervision during this emergency. Your medical knowledge takes priority over security concerns until this crisis is resolved. The decision reflected pragmatic prioritization of immediate life-saving requirements over security investigation that could be resumed after the emergency. Dr. Foster's expertise was too valuable to waste during genuine medical crisis regardless of questions about her identity and background. Wilson was assigned to accompany Dr. Foster during equipment deployment, providing security observation while benefiting from her medical expertise. The arrangement satisfied security requirements while maximizing operational effectiveness during emergency response operations that demanded every available resource and capability. Chun coordinated communication between Dr. Foster's medical recommendations and incoming helicopter medical teams, ensuring effective information transfer for casualty treatment planning. Her role became essential for translating ground-based medical capabilities into aerial medical evacuation coordination requirements. Anderson worked directly with Dr. Foster to optimize medical equipment deployment, implementing her recommendations for vehicle configuration and equipment placement. Her knowledge proved immediately valuable for maximizing medical response effectiveness under genuine emergency conditions where theoretical knowledge became practical life-saving capability. The first helicopter appeared on the horizon as ground. Medical teams completed deployment preparations based partially on Dr. Foster's technical recommendations. The approaching aircraft carried casualties whose survival might depend on the effectiveness of medical equipment and procedures that had been optimized through her evaluation. Dr. Foster moved among the medical vehicles with practiced efficiency, making final adjustments to equipment placement and verifying communication systems that would coordinate casualty treatment and evacuation. Her actions reflected operational experience and medical expertise that exceeded typical civilian contractor capabilities. Major Williams arrived at the vehicle deployment area to coordinate medical treatment protocols with incoming casualties. Her interaction with Dr. Foster revealed immediate recognition of shared professional expertise and common commitment to life-saving that transcended questions about background and identity. Thompson observed Dr. Foster's performance during genuine emergency deployment and recognized behavior patterns consistent with military medical training and operational experience. Her immediate adaptation to crisis conditions and effective coordination with military personnel suggested background that supported rather than threatened security interests. Peterson coordinated overall emergency response while observing Dr. Foster's integration into medical operations. Her contributions were immediately valuable and professionally appropriate, suggesting that security concerns might be secondary to her authentic commitment to medical excellence and life-saving capability. Bennett maintained security awareness while acknowledging Dr. Foster's positive contributions to emergency response effectiveness. The crisis provided opportunity to observe her authentic priorities and professional capabilities under genuine stress conditions that revealed character more clearly than interrogation procedures. The first casualties arrived as medical teams implemented response procedures that had been enhanced through Dr. Foster's evaluation recommendations. Her technical insights were being tested under genuine emergency conditions where equipment, effectiveness, and procedural efficiency would determine casualty survival rates. Wilson worked alongside Dr. Foster during casualty reception and observed her immediate transition from questioned contractor to effective medical professional. Her knowledge and capabilities were immediately valuable for emergency response, suggesting that her expertise was authentic regardless of questions about identity and credentials. Chun coordinated communications between medical teams implementing Dr. Foster's equipment recommendations and hospital personnel preparing for casualty treatment. The emergency provided immediate validation of her technical knowledge and professional competence under operational conditions that demanded maximum effectiveness. Anderson supervised medical equipment operation that had been optimized through Dr. Foster's recommendations, observing immediate improvements in efficiency and capability that enhanced casualty treatment prospects. Her contributions were proving immediately valuable for life-saving operations, regardless of security concerns about her background. As casualties flowed through the medical system that had been enhanced by Dr. Foster's evaluation, her expertise was being validated under the most demanding conditions possible. The emergency would demonstrate whether her knowledge was theoretical or practical, civilian or military, helpful or threatening to Fort Harrison's mission and personnel. The emergency medical response was in full swing when the first critical patient arrived in Vehicle 3, exactly as Dr. Foster had recommended. A young soldier with massive trauma to his abdomen and chest was bleeding rapidly, his vital signs deteriorating despite the best efforts of the field medics who had stabilized him during transport from Pine Ridge. Sophistication of the medical equipment Dr. Foster had optimized would determine whether this soldier lived or died in the next crucial minutes. Dr. Foster moved toward the casualty without hesitation, her professional instincts overriding any concerns about maintaining her civilian contractor facade. As she approached the medical vehicle, her movements displayed the fluid efficiency of someone who had performed these exact procedures countless times under similar life-threatening conditions. The transformation was immediate and unmistakable to anyone with combat medical experience. Major Williams was directing triage operations when she observed Dr. Foster's approach to the critical patient. What she witnessed next would fundamentally alter her understanding of the mysterious contractor's true identity. Dr. Foster assessed the wounded soldier with practiced precision, her hands moving over trauma points and checking vital indicators, with the automatic competence of an experienced combat medic rather than a civilian consultant. Staff Sergeant Thompson watched in amazement as Dr. Foster began directing medical procedures with authority that seemed to emerge from nowhere. Her instructions to the field medics were specific, technically accurate, and delivered with the confidence of someone who had commanded similar situations many times before. The contrast with her previous careful demeanor was striking and immediately apparent to everyone present. The critically wounded soldier was losing blood faster than the field medics could compensate, requiring immediate intervention that exceeded their current capabilities. Dr. Foster recognized the situation instantly and made a decision that would expose her true identity beyond any possibility of denial. She stepped forward and took direct control of the medical emergency with professional authority that could not be questioned or delayed. Her hands moved to the trauma kit with muscle memory that bypassed conscious thought, selecting instruments and medications with precision that reflected extensive practical experience rather than theoretical knowledge. The transformation from mysterious contractor to skilled medical professional was complete and undeniable to everyone observing the life-saving procedures she was implementing. Private Wilson stood transfixed as Dr. Foster performed emergency medical procedures that required years of specialized training and extensive field experience to execute properly. Her technique was flawless, her decision-making immediate, and her results were saving the soldier's life in real time. The revelation of her true capabilities was stunning in its implications and undeniable in its authenticity. Colonel Bennett observed the medical emergency from a strategic distance, recognizing that the crisis had provided definitive answers about Dr. Foster's background and identity. The skills being displayed were not acquired through civilian consulting, work, or academic study. They represented the kind of practical expertise that could only be developed through extensive military medical service under combat conditions. Captain Martinez coordinated the overall emergency response while keeping careful watch on Dr. Foster's medical intervention. Her performance was not only saving lives, but demonstrating competence that exceeded many of the experienced military medics on his staff. The quality of her work raised immediate questions about why someone with her capabilities was operating under a false civilian identity. Corporal Chun monitored communications during the medical emergency and heard Dr. Foster using military medical terminology and radio procedures that revealed intimate familiarity with combat medical operations. Her communication patterns, protocol knowledge, and technical vocabulary were consistent with advanced military medical training rather than civilian contractor background. Master Sergeant Anderson worked alongside Dr. Foster during the medical crisis and observed techniques that he recognized from his own combat deployments. Her methods, equipment handling, and tactical awareness reflected experience that could not be acquired outside genuine military medical service. The authenticity of her expertise was beyond question. The wounded soldier's condition stabilized under Dr. Foster's direct intervention, his vital signs improving as her medical procedures addressed the life-threatening trauma with precision and effectiveness. The successful treatment demonstrated not only her technical competence, but her ability to perform under extreme pressure with lives hanging in the balance. Major Williams approached Dr. Foster as the immediate medical crisis was resolved, her expression reflecting professional recognition and growing suspicion about the contractor's true identity. The medical procedures she had witnessed were performed with expertise that matched or exceeded her own combat medical experience, suggesting military background that contradicted Dr. Foster's claimed civilian status. Dr. Foster's medical intervention had been observed by dozens of military personnel, making further concealment of her capabilities impossible. Her performance during the emergency had demonstrated knowledge, skills, and experience that could only be explained by extensive military medical training and operational experience under combat conditions. Thompson realized that he had been watching someone whose medical expertise was authentic and extensive, regardless of questions about her identity and credentials. The life-saving procedures he had observed were real, effective, and performed with competence that commanded immediate respect from experienced military personnel who understood the difficulty of what had been accomplished. Bennett made the decision to suspend her security investigation temporarily while Dr. Foster continued to provide essential medical support during the ongoing emergency. Her demonstrated commitment to life-saving and authentic medical expertise took precedence over identity questions that could be resolved after the immediate crisis was handled. Lieutenant Colonel Peterson observed Dr. Foster's coordination with military medical personnel and recognized seamless integration that suggested extensive experience working within military command structures. Her understanding of protocols, procedures, and chain of command relationships reflected practical knowledge that contradicted her supposed civilian contractor background. Wilson was assigned to continue working with Dr. Foster during the medical emergency, providing him with direct observation opportunities that confirmed the authenticity of her medical expertise. Her performance under genuine crisis conditions demonstrated capabilities that exceeded anything he had witnessed from civilian contractors during his military service. Shun coordinated medical evacuation communications under Dr. Foster's guidance, implementing procedures that proved more effective than standard protocols due to her insights into tactical medical operations. The improvements were immediate and measurable, enhancing the overall effectiveness of the emergency response through her specialized knowledge. Anderson supervised medical equipment operation that was being optimized in real time through Dr. Foster's recommendations based on immediate operational experience. Her suggestions improved efficiency and effectiveness in ways that demonstrated practical understanding of medical equipment performance under emergency conditions. The second wave of casualties arrived as medical teams implemented enhanced procedures that had been developed through Dr. Foster's direct intervention and expertise. Her contributions were proving essential for successful emergency response. Regardless of ongoing questions about her identity and background, Dr. Foster moved between casualties with practiced efficiency, providing medical assessment and treatment recommendations that improved outcomes for multiple patients simultaneously. Her ability to manage complex medical situations under extreme pressure was evident to everyone observing her performance during the emergency. Williams coordinated with Dr. Foster on treatment protocols for incoming casualties, finding her medical knowledge and tactical understanding to be comprehensive and immediately applicable to their current emergency requirements. The collaboration was professionally productive and personally revealing about Dr. Foster's authentic medical background. Thompson supervised deployment of medical equipment that was being utilized more effectively due to Dr. Foster's optimization, recommendations, and direct operational guidance. Her expertise was enhancing their medical capabilities in real time, providing immediate benefits for casualty treatment and survival rates. Bennett continued monitoring Dr. Foster's activities, while recognizing that her medical contributions were proving essential for successful emergency response. The security investigation would need to be balanced against her demonstrated value as a medical professional, whose expertise was saving lives during genuine crisis conditions. Peterson coordinated overall emergency operations while observing Dr. Foster's integration into military medical response procedures. Her performance was not only technically competent, but strategically valuable for enhanced medical effectiveness that exceeded their normal capabilities during mass casualty situations. Wilson worked directly with Dr. Foster during casualty treatment and observed medical procedures that confirmed her extensive practical experience with combat medical operations. Her expertise was authentic and immediately valuable for life-saving operations regardless of questions about her identity and credentials. Chun supported medical communications that were being enhanced through Dr. Foster's knowledge of tactical medical radio procedures and coordination protocols. Her insights improved information flow and operational effectiveness during the most demanding emergency response Fort Harrison had faced in years. Anderson coordinated medical equipment maintenance and deployment while implementing Dr. Foster's recommendations for enhanced operational effectiveness. Her technical knowledge was proving immediately valuable for equipment optimization that could influence casualty survival rates during ongoing emergency operations. As the immediate medical crisis stabilized, the personnel who had worked with Dr. Foster during the emergency faced undeniable evidence that her medical expertise was authentic, extensive, and immediately valuable for life-saving operations. Her performance had demonstrated capabilities that could only be explained by significant military medical training and operational experience. The emergency had provided definitive answers about Dr. Foster's professional competence while raising additional questions about her identity and background. Her medical skills were genuine and valuable, but her civilian contractor status was increasingly difficult to reconcile with the expertise she had demonstrated under genuine emergency conditions. The successful stabilization of the most critical casualties had created a brief operational pause that allowed Fort Harrison's personnel to process what they had witnessed during Dr. Foster's medical intervention. The transformation from mysterious contractor to skilled combat medic had been so complete and authentic that previous suspicions about her identity were being replaced by professional respect and growing curiosity about her true background. Major Williams approached Dr. Foster as the immediate medical emergency transitioned to stabilized patient care and evacuation procedures. The conversation that followed would fundamentally alter the dynamic between the mysterious contractor and the military personnel who had observed her life-saving capabilities during the crisis. Williams spoke with professional directness that reflected her own combat medical experience and recognition of authentic expertise when she encountered it. Dr. Foster, or whatever your real name might be, what I witnessed during that emergency was not civilian contractor work. That was combat medical expertise at the highest level. We need to know who you really are. Dr. Foster paused in her medical equipment cleanup, recognizing that her performance during the emergency had made further deception impossible and potentially counterproductive. The respect she had earned through life-saving medical intervention provided an opportunity for honest communication that hadn't existed during the security investigation that had been interrupted by the crisis. Her response was carefully measured but more direct than any previous communication since her arrival at Fort Harrison. Major Williams, my medical training and experience are authentic. The specific details of my background are complicated, but my commitment to saving lives and supporting military medical operations is genuine. That's what matters right now. Thompson had been observing the conversation between Williams and Dr. Foster while coordinating continued medical equipment deployment for ongoing casualty processing. The authenticity of her medical expertise was undeniable, but the mystery of her identity remained compelling and potentially significant for base security and operational planning. Captain Martinez joined the discussion, bringing command perspective to the revelation of Dr. Foster's authentic medical capabilities. His experience with personnel management and operational security informed his approach to the complex situation of a contractor whose expertise exceeded her credentials and whose identity remained questionable despite demonstrated competence. Martinez addressed Dr. Foster with professional courtesy that acknowledged her medical contributions while maintaining appropriate command authority. "Doctor, your medical intervention saved lives today. That creates a debt of gratitude, but it doesn't resolve questions about your identity and credentials. We need honest answers about who you are and why you're here." Dr. Foster met Martinez's gaze directly, her demeanor reflecting internal conflict between operational security requirements and professional respect for the military personnel who had accepted her medical expertise during the crisis. The trust that had been built through life-saving collaboration provided foundation for more honest communication. Her response reflected careful consideration of the consequences of revelation, while acknowledging the impossibility of maintaining deception. After her medical performance, "Captain Martinez, I understand your security concerns. My presence here is related to military medical operations, but not in ways that threaten Fort Harrison or its personnel. My expertise is real, and my commitment to your mission is genuine." Colonel Bennett had been monitoring the developing conversation while managing ongoing security considerations and emergency response coordination. The crisis had provided valuable intelligence about Dr. Foster's capabilities and priorities while creating operational requirements that superseded immediate security concerns. Bennett approached the group with intelligence perspective that balanced security requirements against operational effectiveness and demonstrated competence. Her experience with personnel security investigations informed her assessment of Dr. Foster's statements and behavior during the medical emergency. Bennett's communication was direct and professionally focused. "Dr. Foster, your medical performance today answered some questions while raising others. Your expertise is obviously authentic and valuable. The question is whether your presence here represents security risk or operational asset. That determination requires honest information about your background." Dr. Foster understood that the moment for complete honesty had arrived, forced by circumstances that made continued deception impossible and potentially harmful to the military personnel who had trusted her during the medical crisis. Her decision would determine whether her mission at Fort Harrison could continue or would be terminated by security concerns. Private Wilson had been listening to the developing conversation while continuing his assigned duties with medical equipment maintenance and deployment. The revelation of Dr. Foster's authentic medical expertise had impressed him, but questions about her identity remained intriguing and potentially significant for understanding her presence at Fort Harrison. Corporal Chun monitored communications. While observing the discussion between Dr. Foster and senior military personnel, the contractor's medical expertise had been demonstrated convincingly, but the mystery of her background and credentials remained unresolved and potentially important for base security and operational planning. Master Sergeant Anderson completed medical equipment, securing procedures while keeping awareness of the conversation about Dr. Foster's identity and background. Her medical expertise had earned immediate respect, but questions about her authentic status and objectives required resolution for continued operational cooperation. Lieutenant Colonel Peterson joined the discussion group, bringing senior command perspective to the complex situation of a contractor whose medical expertise exceeded expectations while her identity remained questionable. The circumstances required careful balance between security concerns and operational effectiveness. Peterson addressed Dr. Foster with command authority that acknowledged her medical contributions while maintaining appropriate security awareness. "Doctor, your medical intervention today was exceptional and appreciated. However, the discrepancies between your claimed background and demonstrated expertise require explanation before we can proceed with normal operations." Dr. Foster recognized that further evasion would be counterproductive and potentially harmful to the relationships she had built through medical collaboration during the crisis. The trust that had been established provided foundation for honest communication that could resolve the identity questions while maintaining her mission objectives. Her response reflected decision to provide authentic information while maintaining appropriate operational security for sensitive background details. "Colonel Peterson, I am a former military combat medic with extensive operational experience. My presence here as a civilian contractor is related to ongoing assessment of military medical readiness capabilities. The specific details involve classified operations that I cannot discuss without appropriate authorization." Williams felt immediate recognition at Dr. Foster's admission of military medical background, which explained the authentic expertise she had demonstrated during the emergency. The revelation provided context for her exceptional capabilities, while raising additional questions about her transition to civilian contractor status and current mission objectives. Thompson's understanding of Dr. Foster's exceptional knowledge was clarified by her acknowledgement of military medical background, but questions remained about the circumstances that had led to her current civilian contractor status and her specific objectives at Fort Harrison. Martinez appreciated the honesty of Dr. Foster's admission while recognizing that additional information would be required for complete resolution of security concerns and operational planning. Her military medical background explained her expertise, while raising questions about her current mission and authorization. Bennett processed Dr. Foster's admission through intelligence perspective that evaluated the implications for security assessment and operational planning. Former military personnel operating under civilian contractor status represented specific security considerations that required appropriate investigation and management. Chun understood that Dr. Foster's military medical background explained her exceptional expertise and operational familiarity, but questions remained about her transition to civilian contractor status and her specific mission objectives at Fort Harrison. Anderson's respect for Dr. Foster's medical expertise was enhanced by confirmation of military background, which provided context for her exceptional capabilities while raising questions about her current operational status and mission authorization. Wilson was impressed by Dr. Foster's admission of military medical background, which explained her exceptional knowledge and capabilities while creating curiosity about her transition to civilian contractor status and current mission objectives. Peterson recognized that Dr. Foster's military medical background provided foundation for her exceptional expertise while requiring additional investigation of her current status, mission authorization, and security implications for Fort Harrison. Operations. The conversation had reached a critical juncture where Dr. Foster's admission of military medical background provided partial explanation for her capabilities, while raising additional questions about her current mission and authorization that would require further investigation and resolution. The emergency had created circumstances that forced honest communication about Dr. Foster's background, while demonstrating her authentic commitment to military medical operations. The foundation had been established for continued cooperation, while resolving remaining questions about her identity and mission. The revelation of Dr. Foster's military medical background had shifted the entire dynamic of her presence at Fort Harrison, from suspicious security concern to complex operational asset. Captain Martinez made the critical decision that would define the next phase of their relationship with the mysterious contractor, whose expertise had proven essential during the medical emergency. Martinez addressed the assembled personnel with command authority that reflected careful consideration of operational requirements and security implications. Dr. Foster, your medical expertise has proven valuable and authentic. Given the ongoing medical situation and your demonstrated capabilities, I'm authorizing continued cooperation under close supervision while we resolve questions about your current status and mission. The decision reflected pragmatic recognition that Dr. Foster's medical knowledge was too valuable to dismiss based on identity questions alone, while maintaining appropriate security measures to protect base operations and personnel. The approach balanced operational effectiveness with security requirements. During ongoing emergency conditions, Dr. Foster accepted the conditional authorization with professional acknowledgement that reflected understanding of the security concerns her presence had created, while appreciation for the trust being extended based on her medical performance. The arrangement provided opportunity for continued contribution while additional background verification proceeded. Colonel Bennett supported Martinez's decision while implementing additional security measures that would allow Dr. Foster's continued participation in medical operations under appropriate supervision and monitoring. The intelligence considerations required careful balance between operational utility and security protection. Major Williams volunteered to serve as Dr. Foster's direct supervisor during continued medical operations, providing professional oversight that would ensure appropriate utilization of her expertise while maintaining security awareness and operational control. The arrangement satisfied both medical and security requirements. Staff Sergeant Thompson was assigned to coordinate logistical support for Dr. Foster's continued involvement in medical operations, while maintaining awareness of security considerations and reporting requirements. His role would ensure appropriate integration while protecting operational security. Private Wilson received assignment to provide direct assistance to Dr. Foster during medical operations while serving as additional security monitoring and operational support. The dual role would enhance medical effectiveness while maintaining appropriate security awareness and reporting capability. Corporal Chun was tasked with monitoring communications during Dr. Foster's continued involvement while ensuring appropriate information security and operational coordination. Her technical expertise would support both medical operations and security requirements during the ongoing situation. Master Sergeant Anderson continued equipment coordination while implementing Dr. Foster's recommendations for enhanced medical operational effectiveness. His experience would ensure appropriate equipment utilization while maintaining security awareness and operational control. Lieutenant Colonel Peterson assumed overall coordination, Responsibility for Dr. Foster's continued involvement while managing security considerations and operational requirements. His command experience would ensure appropriate balance between medical effectiveness and security protection. The second wave of casualties required continued medical response that would test Dr. Foster's expertise under sustained operational conditions while providing additional opportunity to assess her capabilities and commitment to military medical operations. The ongoing emergency created natural framework for continued evaluation. Dr. Foster approached the sustained medical operations with professional dedication that reflected genuine commitment to life-saving regardless of personal circumstances or security concerns. Her focus remained entirely on medical effectiveness and patient outcomes rather than personal security or identity protection. Williams worked directly with Dr. Foster during continued casualty treatment, observing medical procedures and decision-making that confirmed authentic expertise while providing security oversight that satisfied command requirements. The collaboration proved professionally productive and operationally effective. Thompson coordinated medical equipment deployment while implementing Dr. Foster's recommendations for enhanced operational effectiveness. Her insights continued to improve their medical capabilities in measurable ways that demonstrated genuine value for military medical operations. Wilson assisted Dr. Foster during medical procedures while maintaining security awareness and observation responsibilities. His assignment provided direct access to her medical expertise while ensuring appropriate monitoring and reporting of her activities and capabilities. Chun supported medical communications while monitoring Dr. Foster's radio usage and coordination activities for security compliance and operational effectiveness. Her technical expertise ensured appropriate information security while supporting enhanced medical operations. Anderson supervised medical equipment operation while implementing Dr. Foster's optimization recommendations for improved operational effectiveness. Her technical knowledge continued to enhance their equipment utilization and medical capabilities during ongoing emergency response. Peterson coordinated overall operations while monitoring Dr. Foster's integration into military medical response procedures. Her performance continued to demonstrate authentic expertise and genuine commitment to military medical effectiveness despite ongoing questions about her background. Bennett maintained intelligence oversight while recognizing Dr. Foster's continued positive contributions to medical operations. The ongoing emergency provided extended opportunity to assess her capabilities, priorities, and potential security implications through direct observation. Martinez supervised overall emergency response while managing the complex situation of Dr. Foster's conditional authorization and continued involvement in military medical operations. His command decisions balanced operational effectiveness with security requirements during ongoing crisis conditions. The sustained medical operations confirmed Dr. Foster's exceptional expertise while demonstrating her genuine commitment to military medical effectiveness regardless of personal circumstances or security concerns. Her performance under extended pressure validated initial assessments of her capabilities and priorities. Williams found her professional collaboration with Dr. Foster to be highly effective and mutually beneficial for medical operations while maintaining appropriate security oversight. The working relationship provided model for continued cooperation under appropriate supervision and monitoring. Thompson's coordination with Dr. Foster continued to produce measurable improvements in medical equipment utilization and operational effectiveness. Her recommendations were proven valuable for enhanced medical capabilities that would benefit Fort Harrison beyond the current emergency. Wilson's direct assistance to Dr. Foster provided detailed observation of her medical procedures and professional conduct while supporting enhanced medical operations. His security monitoring confirmed authentic medical expertise and genuine commitment to military medical effectiveness. Chun's communication support enabled enhanced medical coordination while maintaining appropriate information security and operational control. Her technical expertise facilitated Dr. Foster's contributions while ensuring compliance with security requirements and operational protocols. Anderson's equipment supervision benefited from Dr. Foster's technical recommendations while maintaining appropriate security oversight and operational control. Her expertise continued to enhance their medical equipment effectiveness during sustained emergency operations. Peterson's overall coordination integrated Dr. Foster's contributions into successful emergency response while managing security considerations and operational requirements. His command oversight ensured appropriate balance between medical effectiveness and security protection during ongoing operations. The sustained emergency response demonstrated that Dr. Foster's conditional authorization was producing positive results for military medical operations while maintaining appropriate security controls and operational oversight. The arrangement was proving effective for immediate requirements while additional background investigation continued. The medical emergency entered its most challenging phase as the severity and complexity of incoming casualties exceeded Fort Harrison's normal treatment capabilities. The sustained crisis was testing every aspect of their medical readiness while providing unprecedented opportunity to observe Dr. Foster's authentic capabilities under maximum operational pressure. A convoy of vehicles arrived carrying casualties from a secondary incident at Pine Ridge that had complicated the original training accident. The new arrivals included severe burns, multiple fractures, and head trauma cases that required advanced medical intervention beyond standard field treatment protocols. The escalating crisis demanded maximum utilization of all available medical expertise and resources. Dr. Foster assessed the incoming casualties with professional efficiency that reflected extensive experience with complex medical emergencies under austere conditions. Her triage decisions and treatment priorities demonstrated tactical medical judgment that could only be developed through significant operational experience in similar crisis situations. Major Williams coordinated with Dr. Foster on advanced treatment protocols that exceeded their normal medical capabilities, requiring improvisation and adaptation that drew upon the deepest levels of their combined medical expertise. The collaboration was producing results that neither could achieve independently while demonstrating authentic professional mutual respect. The most severe casualty was a soldier with combined traumatic brain injury and severe burns who required immediate surgical intervention to prevent death within the next hour. The case exceeded the treatment capabilities of any single medical professional at Fort Harrison, requiring coordinated expertise that would test their collective medical knowledge and resources. Dr. Foster approached the critical case with professional calm that reflected extensive experience with similar life-threatening medical emergencies. Her assessment was rapid but comprehensive, identifying treatment priorities and resource requirements that demonstrated tactical medical expertise at the highest operational level. Staff Sergeant Thompson coordinated advanced medical equipment deployment while implementing Dr. Foster's recommendations for enhanced surgical support capabilities. Her technical knowledge was enabling medical procedures that exceeded their normal treatment capacity while potentially saving lives that would otherwise be lost. The surgical intervention required coordination between Dr. Foster's trauma expertise and the base hospital's surgical capabilities, creating unprecedented collaboration that was producing medical results beyond their individual capabilities. The partnership was demonstrating the authentic value of her expertise under maximum operational pressure. Private Wilson assisted with advanced medical procedures while observing Dr. Foster's surgical techniques that confirmed extensive practical experience with complex trauma cases. Her expertise was enabling successful treatment of casualties whose injuries exceeded their normal medical capabilities. Corporal Chun coordinated medical evacuation communications for patients requiring advanced treatment beyond Fort Harrison's capabilities while implementing Dr. Foster's recommendations for enhanced coordination protocols. Her insights were improving medical evacuation effectiveness during the most challenging operational conditions. Master Sergeant Anderson supervised advanced medical equipment operation while implementing Dr. Foster's optimization procedures for enhanced surgical support capabilities. Her technical knowledge was enabling successful treatment of critical cases that would typically require evacuation to major medical centers. Lieutenant Colonel Peterson coordinated overall medical operations while observing Dr. Foster's integration into advanced medical procedures that exceeded their normal treatment capabilities. Her expertise was proving essential for successful management of the most challenging medical emergency in Fort Harrison's recent history. Colonel Bennett monitored advanced medical operations while recognizing that Dr. Foster's expertise was proving critical for successful casualty treatment under unprecedented operational pressure. The crisis was demonstrating authentic medical capabilities that warranted continued utilization regardless of ongoing security considerations. Captain Martinez supervised overall emergency response while managing the complex integration of Dr. Foster's advanced medical expertise into military medical operations that were exceeding their normal capabilities. Her contributions were proving essential for successful crisis management under maximum operational pressure. The critical surgical intervention succeeded through coordinated expertise that combined Dr. Foster's trauma experience with military medical capabilities, saving lives that would otherwise have been lost during the unprecedented medical emergency. The success demonstrated authentic value of her medical knowledge under operational conditions. Williams completed advanced medical procedures in coordination with Dr. Foster, while recognizing that the successful outcomes exceeded anything either could have achieved independently. The collaboration was producing medical results that validated Dr. Foster's exceptional expertise while demonstrating genuine commitment to military medical effectiveness. Thompson's equipment coordination enabled advanced medical procedures that were successful due to Dr. Foster's technical recommendations and operational expertise. Her contributions were proving essential for medical equipment utilization that exceeded their normal capabilities during unprecedented emergency conditions. Wilson's direct assistance during advanced medical procedures provided detailed observation of Dr. Foster's surgical techniques and professional conduct under maximum operational pressure. Her expertise was authentic and immediately valuable for life-saving operations that exceeded their normal medical capabilities. Chun's communication coordination enabled successful medical evacuation of critical patients while implementing Dr. Foster's recommendations for enhanced coordination protocols. Her insights were improving operational effectiveness during the most challenging medical emergency Fort Harrison had experienced. Anderson's equipment supervision enabled successful advanced medical procedures through implementation of Dr. Foster's technical recommendations for enhanced operational capabilities. Her expertise was proving immediately valuable for equipment utilization that exceeded their normal medical capacity. Peterson's overall coordination integrated Dr. Foster's advanced medical expertise into successful emergency response that exceeded their normal capabilities while maintaining appropriate security oversight and operational control. Her contributions were proving essential for successful crisis management. The sustained medical emergency was demonstrating that Dr. Foster's expertise was authentic, comprehensive, and immediately valuable for military medical operations under unprecedented operational pressure. Her performance was validating initial assessments while providing foundation for continued professional cooperation. Bennett's security oversight was recognizing that Dr. Foster's medical contributions were proving essential for successful emergency response while maintaining appropriate investigative awareness. The crisis was providing extended opportunity to assess her capabilities and commitment through direct operational observation. Martinez's command oversight was successfully integrating Dr. Foster's expertise into military medical operations that were exceeding normal capabilities while maintaining appropriate security controls. The arrangement was proving effective for immediate operational requirements during unprecedented emergency conditions. The medical emergency was reaching successful resolution through coordinated efforts that included Dr. Foster's essential expertise while demonstrating her authentic commitment to military medical effectiveness, regardless of personal circumstances or security concerns. Her performance was establishing foundation for continued professional cooperation. The crisis had tested every aspect of Fort Harrison's medical capabilities while providing unprecedented opportunity to observe Dr. Foster's authentic expertise under maximum operational pressure. Her contributions had proven essential for successful emergency response that exceeded their normal medical capabilities while saving lives that would otherwise have been lost. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.